And by profession, Jackie is a clinical director of professional practice at a very prestigious hospital here in Ontario. It's one of the largest multi-site hospitals. And she's also the founder and president of what we call Embrace Women's Services. This is a non-for-profit organization and is dedicated to impacting grassroots community through social support and faith-based empowerments. Her dedication extends to her daily online international power line sessions, leading chaplain services for incarcerated women serving in federal sentences and being an international. And she's also, sorry, I just want to go back a little bit. So yes, she actually goes to the prisons and, helps and services the women there. And she is also, so that should be full stop because like all in one sentence here, also an international best-selling author, right? So she has written books that have touched so many's life. She's affectionately called MJ, and I call her that too, okay, Minister Jacqueline, by her spiritual daughters. And Pastor Jackie also often, she offers personal womentorship and a group momentum coaching, uh, discipleship, and kingdom leadership training and development. Oh, that's a mouthful. So she does a lot. Okay. She is dedicated. She's a dedicated mentor, a conference host, and innovative workshop facilitator. Lastly, but certainly not least, Pastor Jackie is a transformational servant leader, passionate about prayer. She believes that through prayer, we embrace Christ's identity and intimacy, which she believes is the superpower essential for effective service to equip, release, and transform the world. I just want to add on to there because I'm not sure why it's not on there as well. I know that she is an awesome mom. I believe that it's three boys, right? I think her mommy ministry really shines. I always see them, doing so well. I believe one of her sons recently was baptized, and there's just a lot. There's a lot going on, but she is an awesome woman of God, very powerful, and someone who is very near and dear to my heart. So I am going to open up the floor for Mrs. Jackie Nugent to come on board. And Pastor, please take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stacy. I hope everyone can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes, yes, I see Carol, your beautiful smiling face. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As mentioned, it's so funny when you listen to your own bio, you're like, oh, okay, right, right. And then you're like, okay, stop now. But for me, really, I truly believe that the Lord has called me to just serve in any capacity. And so, Stacy, I give honor to you when you asked me to do tonight's session. I am actually still at the church. We have an afternoon service and just finished service. So just
We
rolling into
appreciate
this,
you.
somebody said, "Aren't you
Yeah.
supposed to be online?" And I was like, "Right, I gotta go. See you. Close the door." So I know when I came on, I was trying to figure out the mic, and thank you for muting me because I couldn't figure it all out. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for the invitation. Good evening, everyone. I am so happy to be with you all. When I think of Stacy, I think finance, I think entrepreneurship, I think all these great things. And this sort of audience, I think, is kind of one of the best audiences to be around because those that do business and entrepreneur and are just seeking to be financially stable and wealthy and all of that. You guys are the most go-getters I've ever met. And so it's always a treat to share with people just like you that want more, that deserve more, and that are really going after more. And to I think his name was JV Bernard. I don't know if he left. I don't see him anymore. But I am so grateful, JV, Bernard. We could be related. My last name, my maiden was Bernard. So, hey, but I'm so grateful for you because for the longest time, I've been trying to figure out the weather pattern in Louisiana. I follow another pastor, and they said, oh, due to extreme weathers, we're closing down. And I was Googling, trying to figure it all out, never did. But thank you for letting me know that you also get cold and snow and stuff like that, which I had no idea. I thought it was all sunshine, right, Stacey? Because we are Torontonians, Greater Toronto Area, Canada. So we know snow is extreme here, and but other places in the world don't have the infrastructure that we do. So I'm going to get right into the topic that I was given just about finance. And as mentioned, as a pastor and a lover of all things Christ, I'm going to take it from the perspective of stewardship. And many of you have heard of the threefold cord of time, talent, and treasure. I'd like to say time, talent, and our trust, which is a little bit of a shift because I realize that stewardship is how trust flows. And so we're going to talk a little bit about stewardship and how this thing flows from heaven to earth, right? And so I realize that, when I look at my stewardship of time, I say to us that whatever we honor is what determines it determines what grows. So let me say that again. What you honor determines what grows. What do I mean by that? There is a scripture in Ephesians 5, 15 to 16, and it reads, I'll give you part of it. It says, see then that you walk circumspectly. And then it goes on to say, redeeming the time because the days are evil, redeeming the time. And so time is the only, I want to say, renewable asset. We can't renew time. We can't negotiate time, right? But it is an asset. And so our money can be recovered. Some of us have great ideas that have been kind of sitting in the parking lot. And these ideas can be rebuilt. But time, once it is spent, is gone. And so, from a stewardship perspective, we're talking about our finance, we're talking about, our time, our talents, and of course our trust. I believe that God doesn't just ask us, how busy are you? How busy are you? He's asking what your time is actually building. How are you using your time to build wealth? How are you using your time effectively? Is your time being consumed by all sorts of worries and all sorts of things? Or are you actually intentionally investing time? Amen. Because as I said, time is an asset, can't be renewed. So we've got to learn to invest it. Are your decisions reactive or are your decisions intentional? Are we just making decisions based off of how we feel? Well, today I don't feel good. I feel tired, so I'm just going to stay in bed all day. No, we got to be intentional how we spend our time, the things we decide on. And then I ask you this question: are you managing urgency or are you being managed by it? One of the things I love the most is, Stephen Covey's time matrix, where it talks about urgent things that are urgent and important, things that are, non-urgent and non-important. I love this time management matrix because it speaks to whether or not we're managing somebody else's emergency all the time, or are we actually planfully managing our own time, or is our time managing us? Are we simply reactive? And so if your calendar doesn't really reflect your values, I ask you, what is it that you value? I can pause there for a minute. What do you value? Do you value family? Do you value relationships? Do you value, I don't know, hitting that target each week? Because the truth is, if your calendar doesn't reflect your values, it will eventually drain your vision, right? What is your vision? Do you have a vision? The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain, write that thing down. But your time should now align with that vision, how you are investing that. And so, practically speaking, I ask you, what gets your best hours? I am a early bird. I'm a morning bird, mind you. I find lately as I get into my nice, senior age, I realize my time can change. My best hours seem to shift. But many of us can determine, amen. Is there any morning people on the line? Anybody like you're like, yes, thank you, Enid. You can put it in the chat. Are you morning or are you a night owl? Are you a night owl? Or are you a morning bird? Is that early bird catches the worm? Right? Some of you are morning. Thank you, JV. You're morning. I see that Miranda, early bird, early bird. I got a few early birds. Where's our night owls? Where's our night owls? If my friend Siobhan Bent, who is here, entrepreneur extraordinaire, she's up at 2 o'clock in the morning. My goodness. I said, I don't know how you do that. And that's when her day ends. And then she goes to bed. But I say that to say because understanding your best hours is going to help you invest your time. So if I sleep in, believe me, I feel like the world is over. But if I get up at my typical time, 5, 6 a.m., by 8 a.m., I've conquered the world, while some people are just waking up because I am a morning bird. And so I give my best. I am up at 3 a.m. Thank you, Savvy. This is it. And when we get up at that time, what does your schedule look like? Because if we are investing our time, I would suggest that we should give our best at our best hours versus just giving our leftovers. Don't ask me to speak to you tonight at 10 o'clock because you're going to get gibberish. Carol, you're laughing. I will probably start speaking another language because I'm going to fall asleep. I started out as a nurse in healthcare. I'm now a director, clinical director. But when I was nursing and they gave me night shift, back in those days, we had to literally write our nursing documentation. Since that, we've gone into computer. And what everything is online, documented electronically. And I remember we had these green sheets of paper, and I would be doing my nursing documentation at midnight. And when I looked back at my documentation, the words were going down the page diagonally because I was falling asleep. I am not a night person, but after 3:30 in the morning, I could do anything. So I used to always say, "Can I get the first break? Can you please give me first break?" Because I know my best comes first thing in the morning, the early hours, not the late nights. And so, excuse me, what's going to get, what gets your best hours is what you're going to produce. You're going to invest in the best. So think about what your best times are and plan accordingly versus just dealing with the leftover strength that you have. And so I ask you, are you scheduling margin? Are you scheduling time for rest and prayer and strategy? Or are you just thinking about production? What can I produce? And so the truth of the matter is a mismanaged time schedule, it's going to sabotage your God-given vision. Every person on this line, God has given you a vision. God has given you something that you're going to accomplish, but you must invest your time and it must be intentional. The second thing I want you to be is not just stewards of time, but stewards of your talent. We want to build wealth. We want to gain, grow in our businesses and in our homes and whatever God has placed on your line, your purpose. But what you bury, it's never going to multiply. And so the scriptural foundation that I have for you is as one has received a gift. Can I say that every single one of us have received a gift from God? We're all gifted in some way, not the same, but we're all gifted. And so what the Bible says is that minister it to one another. And so I'm ministering my gift to you today. This is my gift. It doesn't look like yours. And this is why I can stand secure in my gift because I'm the only Jackie Nugent on this line. That's who I am. And so the Bible says, as each one has been given a gift, minister it. That's what I'm doing here. That's why I said yes to Stacy. Minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. There is a grace upon our lives. God has given you a gift. And so there is a parable of the talents found in Matthew 25. And the issue was not the lack of ability. This one man took his talent and he buried it. Talent, speaking of money, but we can also interchange it today with our talents, our gifts, our abilities. This man had the ability and he buried it. Why? Because he was fearful of his master. Ha. Oftentimes, what I find is that we have a fear based stewardship. Out of fear, we will bury all the giftings and talents that we have. It is said that what is it? The grave is the richest place. Why? Because there's so many untapped gifts and talents and callings that are buried with the people. Today, I say to us, that servant who buried his talent, he didn't lose his talent. Many of us are thinking, oh, maybe it's too late. Maybe I. No, you haven't lost it. He just refused to risk it. Sometimes we have to take some calculated risks. We've got to step out and do what you've never done before. Maybe we've got to explore new areas. Maybe JV has to come to Toronto, Canada, and we'll give him a winter coat. Or New York and visit places you've never been. Sometimes we've got to step out of what we're used to doing and do things a little bit different because we are stewards of our talents. Talents includes our skills, our creative abilities, our insights, our leadership, our discernment. God never gives talents just for our own personal comfort, but can I tell you, it's for somebody else. My talent is being shared tonight. Your talent will be shared another night. We are here to serve one another. And talent to me is like a seed. And so we plant it. Your talent should never be buried. If you understand that you are a seed, my goodness, you will grow. It's designed for us to distribute to one another. And so sometimes fear, anxiety, worry, lack, all of these negative beliefs causes us to protect what God has given to us. But it wasn't meant to be protected. It was meant to be released so that we can produce it more and multiply it. And so my question for you is, are you operating in your maximum capacity? Or are you just operating in this minimum exposure? Sometimes we've got to be able to say, you know what, Lord, maximize me. Let me operate not under the radar, but I want to rise above. And so God doesn't reward talent when we hoard it. He rewards us when we faithfully release it to the world and the sphere of influence He's given us. And finally, the stewardship of trust. So we talked about stewardship of your time, stewardship of your talent, but now I want to speak to you quickly on the stewardship of trust. We are responsible for that which we trust. Money and wealth, it follows those that will master it. And so the Bible says, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And so they say, the root of all evil is money, but that's actually not what the scripture says. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And so we've got to reframe the conversation about money and wealth. Money is not evil. Actually, it's neutral. Right? It reveals what governs our hearts. How you spend and steward and manage your money is a reflection of who you are in your heart. And so God doesn't entrust increase just because you're impulse, but He doesn't just let's give more just because. No, He entrusts it to those that will walk in order, in integrity, and in wisdom. And so if you're asking God for increase, also ask Him, God, order, give me alignment, give me the integrity with the wealth that you have stored up for me. Give me wisdom. And so, we've got to understand that when we invest our time and our talent, it's a reflection of the decisions, and so our wealth will follow. And so, financial chaos often sometimes mirrors the internal misalignments in our thoughts and our ideas. And so, we've got to get our mind right so that our finance will follow. And so this sort of stewardship is not about how much you give, but it's how wisely you manage. And so God is not opposed to us being wealthy, but He is opposed to wealth without good stewardship. And so we've got to be good stewards and trust God with all that He has. And so I don't know where you are today. But I ask, are you controlling the money, or does your money and wealth control you? Because it's going to dictate how you spend your time and your talent and how you trust. Are you stewarding for legacy? Are you thinking about the next generation? Are you thinking about, after you're gone, or are you just thinking about your lifestyle right now? And so the kingdom principle here is that God is able to do and to fund what we entrust to him. So we can entrust him with it all. And so before the Lord releases more onto all of us, he watches how we manage it. And so time is going to, your stewardship of your time reveals what's your priority. Your stewardship of your talent reveals your faith, and your stewardship of your trust reveals your alignment. And so the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. What does that mean? You don't own it, but you steward it, and you can trust God for more. Stewardship is the language that God responds to. And so I believe today that God is calling us to be great stewards of our time, our talent, and our trust of our treasures, because what you honor with your time, it's going to shape you. What you release through your talent, it's going to multiply your impact. And what God can trust, he's going to increase. If he can trust you, he's going to release it and multiply it. And so today I thank you for this opportunity to share with you. And we, as we look to the Lord, understand that he is the owner of all things. We're simply stewards. And you can entrust, he's entrusting some things into our hands in this season. And I pray that you will not see, what you're facing today as a burden, but it actually is a privilege, because the Lord is aligning your time. He wants you to not just be busy, but he wants us to be fruitful. He wants us to redeem our times, to guard our calendars, and to discern between what is urgent, what is eternal. Hold on to the eternal things. Don't let go. Seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and everything we need, he begins to add it on. I am a recipient of his blessing. I'm a recipient of putting God first and watching alignment come. Our talent is given to us by God. And so I pray that today, that even some of the gifts that have been dormant in you, that it would begin to awaken. I pray that places that are broken from fear, that there would be healing, and that God would stop allowing us, God would help us to stop playing small, but he'll give us the courage to really deploy the greatness of God that is inside each and every one of us, and that we'll align our treasures with him, that God will give us wisdom. We will not walk impulsively. We won't be distracted, but that we would walk in the mission and the commission that God has for us. So I'm going to stop there, and I want to say thank you for your ear. Thank you for your time and allowing me to share these few words with you. Thank
Awesome. Thank you
you.
so much, Pastor Jackie. We appreciate you. We love you. So, what I got here was we need to be stewards of our time. That's something that I really need to focus on. Stewards of our time, stewards of our talent. And there's so many talented people on here for definitely we need to be stewards of our talent and stewards of what we trust. Trust, right? So, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That was amazing. And of course, this is our faith and finance every Sunday night. I would be amiss if I did not share our hostess with the mostest, which is Odetta King. This is her line, and she is having I believe it's called Faith and Finance book coming out. Yeah, Faith and Finance. So her book, she's an amazing author. That is going to be coming out shortly. All right. So that is a great announcement that I wanted to share. And I myself am going to share a little bit more and go a little bit deeper into being stewards of our finance, right? How we need to be good stewards of our money, right? That's just managing the money that God has given us. Because as Pastor said, everything in the world is his, right? He made it all. It's all his. Everything is his. So we just have to be managing what he gave us properly. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and just give me a thumbs up once you're able to see it. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Did I share anything or no? Share. Let me try it again. Screens. Okay. Thumbs up. You can see, or you can just unmute and let me know. Yes. I can't hear
Yes,
anyone.
it's
Okay.
here.
Thank you, Pastor Carol. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. So I should have did a little bit of this housekeeping in the beginning, just to let you know that all this information is really just for your education purposes, right? You're not going to learn everything, obviously, and please don't take any pictures or anything like that, or record the session that we're sharing here tonight. You can definitely always come back and learn more, ask any questions that you want, okay? So for myself, I'm a part of an organization called World System Builder, and we're on a campaign to educate 30 million people by 2030. But guess what? Guess what, JV? Who you know, I don't know. So it's all about word of mouth. So we do these sessions to get the information out, right? Because it's so important. Financial literacy is not just an option, it's really, really a necessity now. And in order to get to our 30 million by 2030, we need everyone's help, right? So if each one on here, if you learned one new nugget today, I say go and just invite someone else out to the next workshop. I'm going to share with you a book. It's called Saving Your Future. And in this book, it has like, it's just 88 pages with like a lot of really important information, stuff that I wish I knew earlier in life. Right, Carol? There's a lot of information there. I'm going to share some US statistics with you because I think the majority are US here. So you can see here that 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Wow. Does anybody know what is the population in the US? I know Canada is 41, about 41 million. We're just a drop in the bucket compared to you guys. But what's the population there? Anybody doing a quick Google search? Approximately, what's the population in the US? Jonathan, you look like you know. Come on.
348 million.
Wow. And 64% of them, right?
Mhm.
64% of them are living paycheck to paycheck. You know what that means, Kim? If they don't get their paycheck next week, Richard, they're going into debt, right? Tessa, if they don't get their paycheck next weekend, it's trouble. They're putting things on their credit card, Rowan, which is not where the emergency fund should be, right? And the average American household credit card balance is $10,000. That's the balance, running balance, right? Nearly half of Americans between the ages of 55 to 65 have no retirement savings, nothing at all, right? What are they going to do later in life? You know, we live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, Canada and the US, but so many people have money problems, Pastor Jackie. But I do have good news for you, Sita. People are living longer. Yeah, I'm mostly women. We're outliving the men. Okay. People are living longer. But you know what? With that comes challenges. And some of the challenges are here. There's lower birth rates. And how does that affect us? Well, that means that not as many people are working in the workforce savvy to put money in so that we can have that social security, so that we can have that pension and that retirement, right? And there's more single parents there now. So, Rowan, if you can imagine, people with dual income right now are struggling, right? Because Helen, you saw the statistics, 64% are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you're a single parent, how much harder is that, Alicia? And what do you guys think? Pastor Jackie said it as she gets older, she's a little, colder, goes to sleep earlier. What do you think about our health? Will our health improve or will our health start to decline? Thumbs down if you think it's going to decline, right? Yes, Helen, it does. This is just the truth. We have to be prepared for these things, right? So as we're living longer, what type of life do we want to live? We don't want to be living in poverty, right? So these are the things that we have to really take a look at and make sure that we're not too busy right now as we're young in the first half of our life to prepare for the second half of our life. And in order to take a look at what that looks like, Norma, I'm going to share with you three simple, quick concepts. Number one, the X curve concept. You can write that down. Number two, our financial foundation. And then next, rule of 72, Alicia. So the X curve concept is basic. Right now, as you're young, you need to take care of your family. That's the responsibility line. So Helen, that blue line there is the, you know, responsibility that is line, right? You have to be taking care of your family. That's the adulting line, right, Brian? And then the other line that goes up, that is your wealth line. So that is to take care of you in the future, Jonathan. So that green line, you want that to be growing. as your responsibilities go down. You want to do these things at the same time, right? Walk and chew gum at the same time. And what does that entail? So right now, in order to find out how much protection that you need, right? You need to be properly protected. We do something called the DIME method, DIME, right? So that means that you want to protect maybe any debt that you have. Maybe you have a car loan, that type of thing, any debt. So that's the D, debt. Then, of course, your income, right? So we want to protect your income needed for your family. So we want to leave normally 10 times, which is 10 years worth of your income, your annual salary, to your loved ones, right? So that means, does anybody here have a wife? If you leave her 10 years of your salary, do you think she's going to run and remarry? No, right, Jonathan? She doesn't have to quickly remarry because she has enough money. She can relax. Doesn't have to be stressed out. Okay. And then also, if anything happens to you, who wants to still be paying for their mortgage? You don't want to pay for your mortgage if your spouse is not around. So we include that in your protection needs, right? My father passed away when I was 29 years old. My mom is going to be 80 years old this year. And guess what? Pastor Jackie, she's still paying her mortgage, right? Because my dad didn't know any of these concepts, right? He didn't understand about proper protection and he didn't have these things in place. But if he knew, if he had the financial education, Odetta, he would, I know for sure he would have everything in place he needed. And of course, if we have children, we want to make sure that we take care of their education. So that's the E, right? So D, debt, I, income, M for mortgage, and E for the education for your children. Because guess what? You might have a wonderful sister who could take care of your children, Alicia, if anything happened to you, but does she have the finances to send her to Harvard, to send her to whatever school, Brian, that your child would like to go, right? If not, you want to make sure you put that all in what is your protection needs. And that is how you can determine how much, you should be worth. Okay? If you don't have any kids, then E will be for final expenses because at the end of the day, we still have responsibility to pay for our final resting place, right? You're always going to have those final expenses, your final taxes, and you have to pay for that final home. We don't want to be doing GoFundMe, right, Richard? And then we want to, at the same time, take care of our future, which we need money for. It takes time. There's no get rich quick. So those that are young here, you got a lot of time and you want to get a positive rate of return, right, Savvy? We want our money to be increasing, right, Beverly and Cheryl? We want our money to be increasing, not decreasing. But what takes away from our wealth, Tessa? Dun, dun, dun. Inflation, right? That takes away from our wealth. And another thing is taxes. So, can anyone tell me on here, out of the two negatives that take away from our money, our wealth, which one do we have some control over? Inflation or taxes? You can just unmute and tell me, because I don't think I can see the chat.
Taxes.
All right, great job. Yeah, taxes. Anybody on here who's an entrepreneur who's in the business knows taxes, right? I'm here in Canada in my home. This is my home office. So guess what? I get to write off my utilities. I get to write off my laptop that I'm on here, my phone bill every month, right? If I decide to go out and drive somewhere, it's a business. It's a business meeting. Even trips, right? So it's one of the best things is that you have a business as well as a job if you would like, but the main thing is you need to have some type of, it's a capitalist country, so you need to have some type of entrepreneurship going on, okay? So the formula here is very, very simple. Is formula 10-20. So that means you need 10 times your income to protect your family if something were to happen to you. And you need 20 times your income for your future, right? Does anybody know why they say 20 times your income? Can you take a guess? Why do you need 20 times your income? Sita? Well, Brian, remember I said that we're
It
living
will
longer?
take, yeah, it will
What's that,
take,
Sita?
sorry, I said it will take that many years to replace.
Well, the way it works is if you look at the traditional retirement, age
Uh,
65, and the
yeah.
traditional day that, we pass away and we go see our maker is about 85. So they say 20 years. But what did I say earlier? We're living longer, right, Brian? And guess what? You want to wait till 65 to retire? No, many people want to retire earlier now, 50, 60, right? So if we retire at 60 and we live till 90, that's 30 years. So really and truly, that number is kind of low. We might need 30 years our income because guess what happens? When you retire, you still have bills. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
Even if you've paid off your mortgage, you still have property tax, you still have your phone bill, you still have car insurance, you still got to eat food, right? And what's the cost of food going? Just keeps going up and up and up. So we
Mm.
need that money for our future. That's why we always have to do what the wealthy do. We have the CETA bill and we pay ourselves first. Right, Jackie? We must make sure that we put all those things in place. And this is how we do it with a strong financial foundation. So just like building a house, we want to do it from the bottom up, having proper protection, which we talked about, for the what ifs in life, right, Brian? What if you get sick? What if you get a critical illness, right? Like my cousin did, and she had to remove both breasts. She had to do the Angelina Jolie. Well, guess what? I know that Minister Jackie, she works in the hospital, so she sees it all the time. It was just a day surgery. Her husband, which is my pastor, he has to stay home from work. And what does that mean? Less income, right? People don't talk about the financial aspects of those things. And then what if, you know, you go to meet your maker a little earlier than you think you should, even though everything has its appointed time. But what about your family left behind, right? We want to make sure we have proper protection, right? You don't want to be Enid having a grand old time up in heaven and your family's down here living in hell, right? Because they got to do GoFundMe, they're running around, all these, they don't know what to do. So we want to make sure that we have proper protection. It is the adulting thing to do. And of course, debt management. Eliminate all bad debt and leverage good debt, though. We want to have an emergency fund and we want to have investments. Now, where are you guys in this scale? Do you know how much protection do you have? Do you have enough proper? Do you have proper protection? Do you have the right amount? Are you underinsured? What about debt? Do you have a lot of debt? Do you have the right amount of emergency fund? So 10 times proper protection, right? We want zero debt or to leverage good debt. And then they say 6 times, so 6 months worth of emergency fund, right? So 6 months worth of your expenses. But really, what happened during COVID, Enid? Right? People were laid off for a year or more. So I tell people try your best to get at least a year of emergency fund. Right? In 2015, I was sick. And you know what, Elisa? I couldn't see, I couldn't speak, I couldn't raise my hand, I couldn't walk. And Sita, I had about 10 months worth of emergency fund. And can anybody take a wild guess how long I was sick for? Just take a guess. I had 10 months worth of emergency fund.
2 years.
Yes, that's exactly it, Savvy. 2 good years. Well, my financial house was all over the place. It was crumbling around, right? Of course, I used up all my emergency fund. I went into debt, right? Because I didn't have things properly in place. If I had that foundation, proper foundation, I wouldn't have any issues, right? I used up all my investment. Everything was gone,
So,
right? So this is what we do. And it is biblical. A lot of people think, oh, money and the Bible don't mix. It is biblical, right? If you want to look it up, you can look up Proverbs 13:22. I can't quote verbatim, but I believe it's to leave an inheritance to your children's children's children, right? I add a couple children on there, as deep as you can go, right? So it's not just we just want to leave them money, because guess what? Pastor Jackie, the next generation, boom, is gone. We also have to leave them the literacy, the financial education. That's why we're doing this business, so that they understand how money works and keep that money working for them. We also have Romans 13:8 and Proverbs 22:7, and either one of them has to deal with saying that we shouldn't be in debt. Like only debt that we should have is to love one another. That should be the only thing that we're in debt to, is to love one another, right? We should not be a slave to debt, right? We are the head, we're not the tail. These are the things that the Lord said of us, right? He made us in his image. So we want to make sure that we are not in debt. And then we have Proverbs 21:20 and 1 Corinthians 16:2. And I believe, I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me here. I believe this one has to do with, saving and investing, saving and making sure you're always saving, right? This is what the wealthy do. What they do is they save first. So they have the Jonathan bill. Like just like you might have, I don't know what companies you have, because over here we have Enbridge that takes our money, we have Rogers, we have all these different companies, right? All the utilities companies, everything that takes your money every month, your rent, your mortgage, taxes come off first. But you want to pay yourself first, right? You pay your tithes, your 10%, then you pay yourself your 10%, then you still have 80% to, do all of your expenses, your entertainment, and all that type of stuff, right? This is how the wealthy get wealthy. But guess what? Because we're living paycheck to paycheck, we try to pay everything first, and then in the end, we try to save. And you know what? Savvy, there ends up being nothing left to save. So
Yes.
how can you save and invest, right? And class 60, I can never say this properly. 11, 2. I know that this is about investments. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's on the same field. I just want to share with you that, the Lord wants us to be wealthy in this lifetime. So if we are blessed, we can be a blessing to others, right? Maybe we're okay. But right now in this cold Canada, there's somebody sleeping under a bridge, right? Imagine if we had the money to change that. So we want to continue to be good stewards of what the Lord's given us and to make that grow and to make that multiply. And one way to make it multiply is by the rule of 72. So I think everybody on here, you can put your hand up if you know or heard of Albert Einstein. Yeah? Okay, what have you heard about him? You heard E equal MC square, right? But have you ever used that in your lifetime? No. But what about the rule of 72? This is something that he discovered as well. And this is a simple rule. It's the compound effect of money. And it's one of the most essential rules in finance. So for those of you who are not on camera, maybe you're doing something else, you're doing the dishes, you're putting the baby to sleep, please pay attention right now. This is very important because if you don't understand this concept, then it can actually really, really work against you. Okay? So if you take the number 72, then you're going to divide it by whatever interest rate you're getting from your bank, right? So Jonathan, how much is your bank, your regular bank account? Like what interest rate are you getting from them?
About a 0.0001%.
Right? Exactly. Nothing, right? So you're getting like service fees and all kind of stuff. But let's be generous. Let's be very generous. Let's say you're getting actually 1%. 72 divided by 1 is how much? Quick maths, guys. Quick maths.
To two.
Exactly. You know what that means? It's going to take 72 years for my little $100 in the bank to double. 72 years. You know what, Yvonne? That's not going to be in my lifetime, Helen. That's not going to be in my kid's lifetime. Right, Carol? And when I saw that, I said, that's crazy. I said, I got to move my money, Sita. Alisa, my money cannot just sit there in the bank like that. So now what if you can get 6%? Then your money doubles every 12 years. So let's take a look. You have $10,000 sitting there. Remember, you're not putting in another dime. This money is compounding on itself, all the interest. So you can see here that after 12 years, it doubles. Then another 12 years, that doubles. Another 12 years, that doubles. So we're at 81,000. So now, what do you guys think? How long will $81,000 last you during retirement? In 36 years from now, the cost of goods, and that's great. Like maybe a couple of months, right? Because right now, 81,000 a year is not money,
Mm.
right? But what if we can get 2% more interest? What a big difference it makes. Look at that. Just 2% interest. You think, it's not a big deal. It doubles the money. Almost $160,000, Pastor. That's a huge difference. How about 10%, right? And I know many places where people are getting double digits because people ask me this all the time. Oh, where can you get 10%? Trust me, all of my clients are getting over 10%. So you can see here, $300,000. Now, isn't that a better retirement, Eden? Yeah, right?
Yes.
And what if you can get 12% or more? Then you're going towards 500,000, right? But what I want you guys to know is if you don't understand the rule of 72, it can work against you, right? Because guess what they do? They lend you back your money, Brian, in the form of a credit card, right?
Mm.
A car note, right?
Mhm.
A mortgage. And how much is the interest rate on those credit cards? I don't know.
26%, 25, 26%.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just say it's only 20%. Take 72 and divide it by 20, then what do you get?
What did she say?
72 divided by 20 is what? It's too late for all this math, eh? Sunday night. It's about 3 years, guys. Just average is about 3 years. So that means if you have a debt, you have a credit card debt of 3 years during COVID, you lost your job, you let it stay there. Boom, blink your eyes. Then 2023 hit. That doubled. Now it's 2026, right? We're February. Happy Black History Month. We're into 2026. That debt would have doubled twice, right? Because the interest rate's so high. We're paying so much interest rate. So if you don't understand the rule of 72, it can really work against you. So it's very, very important that you understand it. Okay? And when we look at it in dollars and cents here, you can see if you're even getting 5% interest somewhere, you probably have to lock that in. And then guess what? You got to pay taxes when you take it out, right? Because when you make money, they tax you. When you save money in the wrong places, they tax you, right? And when you, what else? Make money, they tax you. Spend money, they tax you. Anything else? Spend, they tax you. Save, yeah. Make, spend, save. And when you die, they
Yes.
tax you the most, right? They consider it deemed disposition. So they consider that if you pass away today, we rebuke it, but that means you sold all your earthly possessions yesterday, your car, your home, your bank accounts, everything. And they want the tax money. Okay? I experienced it already when my father passed away. We had to wait a whole year to do his taxes so that we can give well, for here it's Revenue Canada. I don't know, Uncle Sam there for, the tax money. Okay. So here you can see if you're looking at the wealth concept, you really end up not making any money when they take away the things that take away your wealth, which is taxes and inflation. Because remember, what you could buy for $100 5 years ago, you can't buy for $100 in 5 years. Okay. So you want to be very, very mindful of that. And I want to really share with you a real life example. Okay. So let me just go to that. This is one of my clients. I just blacked out her name here. So she is a nurse. And I thought I blacked out her name, but some of it's there. Okay. She's a nurse. And what I realized is that here in Canada, nurses get a good pension. They get really good pension. And she was also doing her RSPs, and she was, everywhere that she thought was the right places to invest her money, she was investing her money. She didn't even take her pension until she was like 71. But then when I crunched the numbers and I did the math, she gained 3,600 every single year because she waited to take her pension, but she was paying over $7,000 in taxes. So I said, is it really worth it? And now she's about 72, 73, and she's not doing well. Her health is not well. So did she even enjoy, all of her savings? I say that to say she did do a registered retirement plan with us. And you can see here that where she's investing her money, she is gaining, and this is an average on many of my clients, 16.21%. I don't know if you guys can see that, 16.21%. So from the beginning, she just started this in 2024, and she already gained $50,000 on her money, right? So she invested in about $230,000 that she just left there. She's not adding any money to it all the time. She just left that there, and it's growing. Even this year alone, if you can see here, see since the beginning of 2026, right?
Mm,
When I printed this, it was the 23rd of January, so not even a full month yet. She already gained over 12,000, almost $13,000, right?
yeah.
You can see here almost $13,000. That's because her money is compounding,
Mm,
okay? At 16.21%. So how, her money is going to double real quick. That money is going to double. And right now, she could actually just live off the interest. So do you guys think that her retirement is set? Right? She can just leave that money there and live off the interest. What's happening to a lot of people while they're living in poverty is their money's just sitting there, maybe in the bank, and they're taking from it slowly, 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 taking till there's nothing left. And when
Mm,
they're in their late 80s and 90s, they run out of money,
yes.
right? So you have to invest it in the right vehicle to know, where your money, annuities, different things. This is called, we have tax-free savings, we have different type of investment vehicles, but you just have to know where to invest your money. And in order to do that, you should definitely speak to a financial professional, right? So that's what we do. We help people grow their money and make sure that they have enough for their needs. This is the financial house that we want to help people build. And we do it one by educating. So give yourself a round of applause for being here, getting the education, get
Mm,
yourself protected for all of these things, loss of income, critical illness. These are all some Canadian accounts that you can get to invest your money. And last but not least, you want to make sure you have your estate planning. That is the roof, right? That completes everything. So your wills, power of attorney, all those things. And how are you going to do this? Speak to whoever invited you, right? Get yourself a personal financial strategy. Get everything done. Just like when you go, this is the new year and everybody's at the gym, right, Savvy? Everybody's at the gym. And
correct,
you can see the person that has a personal trainer. You're going to see the difference in 6 months, right? They'll have the six pack. But
correct,
the majority of people, they're going to fall off because you need somebody on your side who can see and help you and coach you. Get yourself that financial coach, right? So
correct.
definitely, Odetta is here. She has her books. She knows, and she is a Christian woman of God. So she's not going to steer you wrong, right? There's nothing that she's going to do that she wouldn't do for herself and her family. So make sure that you guys seek out someone who is able to advise you correctly and help you to make your money work for you. All right. I want to thank you so much. I'm not sure if Mrs. King would like to come and just say goodbyes. Once again, I want to thank once again our pastor, Jackie Nugent, who presented earlier today and shared with us those three nuggets of stewardship of time. I have to work on stewardship of talent, stewardship of trust, right? And I just went a
Yes.
little bit deeper into it, exactly how your money works and how we need to make it work for us.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate.
you.
I learned something very important today that I wouldn't have thought in a while that would affect me this way by you telling me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Savvy. Can I ask you what it is specific that you learned?
You know, like I never learned to prepare for any emergency reasons, right? I think everything is going to come and fall into place when time is there, but it doesn't happen so as you speak,
Mhm.
because I never was thinking like, okay, today you here, tomorrow you gone, and what is left? Who is going to take care of everything if you don't put it into perspective, right? Like,
Yes,
you're thinking everything is there. You Today you put $50 in the bank and you figure, yeah, tomorrow you spend 75. Where is 25 going to come, right?
that's right.
By the time you God forbid, when we all have to go and somebody come to help you, there's nothing there for them to do. Where they's going to find it, and then you never think of these things. Now you open the eyes for me to see, understand what you mean and talking about, right?
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that
Like,
you were able to see that. If nobody else saw and you saw, then the job was
no,
done.
because
I
like I
appreciate that, Savvy.
I'm not ashamed to say that, like my credit card, as you say, the more rate is 20. That's why I can tell you like 25%, right? Sometimes, like you thinking, okay,
Listen,
you
some people are at the other places, the loan sharks that do 40%, and they can never get out of those things.
right,
It's
like you spend $500, right? You say, oh,
mhm.
I got a credit card, I needed these things, and I buy it. Yeah, but when time to pay back that $500, it's hard to pay, and the interest grows up more than you spend.
Exactly. You
So
bought something on sale, but then you're paying interest, so you really didn't buy it on sale, right? So yes, we
that's
thank
what
you so much.
he even said the same thing to me. He said, "Auntie, you're getting older. You prepare for when you're not at good health, right? As you mentioned there."
Hmm.
Said, "Yeah, but there are times when you think that you have it, and then some emergency come, you spend everything."
Life is always lifing. There's always an emergency. That's what I've learned in my 52 years. Always something is going to go. The roof, the car breaks down. There's always something. Life is always lifing, right? And
But
Auntie
can but
Savvy, I just wanted to say to you, like, yes, we talked about people living longer, but unfortunately, like today, one of my god sons, he's only in his 20s, passed away. And, you
Sorry.
know, it's just heartbreaking, but nobody knows tomorrow. And another thing is for us,
Like
we have a greater need for money while we're alive.
like
You
you
know what I
said,
mean?
your mom is at 80 and she's still paying her mortgage, right?
Yes,
No,
yeah.
like, as you said, if she had known before, this wouldn't be, she would be retiring in luxury, right?
Vacationing and on the yacht, of course. That's
Yeah.
the lifestyle that we want to live.
So that's
But
when now you get somebody to give you that inspiration what to do. So
mhm.
like you can change it and be better. So
Yes, you got to work on it, man. Reach out to Odetta, work with her. She can make sure it happens for you, right? And then making sure that we have things in place for the what ifs during life, because life is always lifing. Something always happens, right? I have a story where we need to not just think about when we grow older, but think like if we're responsible for anybody, like we have children, even adult kids. I have a friend who her son ended up getting some type of brain cancer, and you know what? She's responsible for she's paying his house rent and those things now because she's responsible for him. So if you have anyone that you're responsible for, your parents or kids or anybody you're responsible for, you need to make sure that they have proper protection, right? You need to reach out to them and find out what do you have. If you don't have, put something in place.
like I
Yeah, some anything, even if it's $1 a day, you have to get something in place.
my nephew, right? I don't have no kids, but if something should happen to me, he's always asking me, you
Yeah,
have your thing in perspective that we don't have to worry. It's not that they don't want to help me, but they're
yeah.
just trying to make sure that I put things in order.
Of course, yeah. They want you to be
I never do it.
well. They want you to live well. They don't want you to be struggle. Yeah.
So
We gotta
now
have our diaper changing money.
said
I'm
the
telling
same
you.
thing, you know. They've been telling me, but I never take to heed. But now you open my eye by some of the things you're talking here. I said, oh yeah, really
Good.
does make sense because they've been telling me long time, but I never do it.
Okay. Good
So now
stuff. Good
I've
stuff.
tried to do my very best to make it improve.
Savvy,
Awesome.
who invited you, Savvy?
Stacy did.
Oh, and Savvy, where are you? Are you in Canada or US?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, nice, nice.
Stacy is a good inspirational. She she says marvelous things that we would learn from.
Good, good, good.
It-
Awesome. Thank you
Put
so
it into
much.
place. She can teach us, but we used to put it into place, right?
That's it. It doesn't matter. Whatever I say, if you just, then you waste your time, right? You have to
Yes.
implement. You have to take action, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way things are going to change. Even
Yeah.
if it's small, small, step by step, you can do it. We can empower ourselves, right?
And
So thank you guys so much. Odetta, did you want to close
Yeah,
out for us?
I'm gonna close out. Guys, thank you so much for coming on these
We're
faith
not
and
seeing you. Are
I
you
know.
on? Oh,
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on with Faith and Finance. The information is there. And like Stacy said, and I'm gonna echo it, we need to implement. Guys, we know things are bad.
yes.
We know people struggling. We know people living paycheck to paycheck. But what I also do know is that we're spending.
Correct.
Why are we spending on things that we think is making us happy right now at the expense of the future? We don't need to do our nails. We don't need to go to the hair salon. Do your
Mm.
own hair. We don't need to spend money on the luxuries, on yes, the rent, the mortgage, the light, the water, but we don't need to be eating out. But if you think that's important to you, well, that's why we are where we are, right? Because
Correct.
if you think that's important, well, then when the calamity comes, it's on you.
Yes.
Guys, I've been doing this business, and the people who are making money are not even getting their nails done every month. Case in example, I don't get my hair done and my nails done every month. I get my nails done when I know I have to travel or I have a speaking engagement.
I don't ever get mine, and I cut mine's my nail myself.
Right? I have some friends who don't make no six figures and they're wearing like $800 weaves and bundles. And I can afford it and I'm buying a wig on Amazon for $40 and $50. So do not tell me, right? Otherwise, when I look at the numbers and I look at the budget and I see where the money is going, how about if we redirect some of this spending frivolous stuff and save it over here. Because that $200 is still being spent on stuff.
Yes.
Stuff. We don't need to be buying any more stuff. We need to be saving money and putting things in the right bucket so that when life happens, good or bad, because I know somebody right now who is in shambles trying to sell their house because they need the money and that house is going to go for pennies. So it's good or bad, right? When opportunity comes, those who have the money will get the deal.
Yes, yes.
So with that being said, speaking of money and getting the deal, next week Sunday we have another dynamite, amazing man of God, right? And this man, he is so powerful. Everybody wants to be on it. You want to invite more people. So Pastor George Gale is not only a man of God, a pastor, but he also is deeply into finance from the aspect of real estate and credit. So he is going to talk firsthand, obviously, about God, but showing people how they can use credit wisely. And of course, you're still going to need money for the down payment, right? He's going to talk about the finance portion from real estate and credit standpoint. This is faith and finance. Now, even if you already have a house, I promise you, you're going to learn something. If you're planning on buying a house, or even if you have stellar credit like me, 800 plus, you're going to learn something, right? It's faith and finance. All of you that are already on this Zoom, you guys don't need to do anything. You're going to continue getting the email, the reminder. It is the exact same Zoom link. You're going to come on and you're going to invite other people to come and learn about faith and finance. Guys, at the end of the day, we're going to give the knowledge, but we have to implement. And as I told the group that I work with on Saturday at the library, we just need to start. We keep waiting for this big money to start saving or putting things in place. The big money ain't coming. So how about we work with a little that we got? God bless us with a little. Let's be good steward over the little so he can see that we're doing what we're supposed to do. And then he's going to bless us with big. Because I promise you, if God were to bless you with $1 million right now, would you even know how to grow that million? No, you know how to spend it. You don't know
Yes.
how to grow and multiply and keep it, right? Grow, multiply, and keep it. Right now, what's happening in my own personal family, like God forbid something happened to me, they do not know how to keep it. They know how to spend it, but they don't have the knowledge nor the discipline to keep what's going to be entrusted to them and multiply and grow it. And that's the reality for many people. So we're gonna take it a step back and we're gonna stop saying how life is tough. No, life is not tough. You're making it tough because you're spending above your budget and you're buying stuff that you think is making you happy. Meanwhile, you're putting yourself in bigger debt or you cannot afford to save because you just spent $100 on some stuff when you could have put that $100 in a high yield savings account or IUL or something that we're going to show you to grow and build wealth and position yourself so that if life hits you with a curveball, you can handle it because the is going to form, but it's not going to prosper. And when you get sick, you know that your mortgage is still going to be paid because you put things in place.
Yes.
And that's it, right? So, with that being said, this month is Black History Month, and we have a series of amazing webinar. We're kicking off tomorrow. I saw she was on earlier. We're kicking off tomorrow with, oh my God, mindset, right? It starts with our mindset. So we have Dr. Danielle Buds. We have Miss, oh my God, Mama Hart, who was an educator for 30 something years. We have Eric, who is a corporate music exec. We have Beaches, who is retired. We have a powerhouse kicking off Black History Month. This is going to be every Wednesday in February at 9 p.m. First topic, from chains to checkbook, right? We know the struggle is there. Our forefathers went through the same struggle. They went through the same struggle. The struggle is going to continue, right? And then on February 11th, now we have my girl, right? We got the young squad, the millennial. JV was on. I don't know if JV's still on. Him and Natasha Zonders from Georgia, and then Trey from California. They're going to talk about building wealth, how wealthy families are building wealth. But we want, but the same strategies that these wealthy families are using, we can use it too. Now, yes, we may not start with a lot of money, but we start where we are with the little money, the little money, because that little money is going to grow to big money. So we need to start with what we have, right? And then on February 18, and again, these are all on Wednesdays, right? All on Wednesdays, 9 p.m. for the month of February. Then on February 18, myself and Nicola are going to teach on real families, real stories, real results. How do you protect the bag? Because as long as you and I are getting a paycheck, there's something we can do with a portion of that paycheck, because 90% is going to your to life. You got to put aside something, right? We're going to protect the bag. And then the last one on February 25th, we're closing out with another powerful pastor, right? Another powerful pastor, which is going to be, here she is, Pastor Cherie, February 25th. Oops, not you, Cherie. Pastor 25th, we're closing out with the legacy, right? Everything that we're working for. Guys, I don't care if it's $100 you die and leave behind. You got to make sure that that $100 goes to the right person. And most of us have money in the bank account, right? So it's up for grab because it's in the bank account. So legacy locked in. We're going to talk about wills. We're going to talk about power of attorney. We're going to talk about trust and making sure that that well that we are working so hard for right now, that we're killing ourselves, slaving ourselves. Do not leave it to the hands of these kids and grandkids and family members. Make sure that you know exactly what to do so they do not squander it, because they don't understand how money works and they're going to spend it, which is what they're good for, right? And then, as Stacy mentioned, right, my book is finally, where is it? Where is it? Close out all of these. Right? Faith and Finance. Faith and Finance is finally published, right? So all of these announcements that I made tonight, you guys will receive it in the Zoom email, the same email, right? We have the recording that's going to go out tonight. You'll have the links to register for the Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Legacy. I mean, Black History Month, right? One link, you register for all of the dates, just one link. You don't need to register for Faith and Finance for next week Sunday with Pastor George for the credit and real estate, because it's on the same Zoom link. And you're also going to get the link for Faith and Finance, the book, right? So this is a book that's talking about, of course, finance and the Bible and strengthening our faith. How are we going to be good steward over our finance while walking and having a closer relationship with God and strengthening our faith? Pretty powerful, I might say, but then that wouldn't be right because I wrote it, right? So my goal and my mission this year is to be in more churches, because the more people that we can help with this information, we're building the kingdom of God. Because if more people have, they can bless more people. We can do more charity work. We listen. It's going to take money to build a kingdom. It's going to take money to build school. It's going to take money to help the homeless. It's going to take money. And unfortunately, we don't know how money works. All we know to do is to spend. That's all we know to do. We know how to spend it real good, but we don't know how to grow it, stack it, protect it, and no, we don't. This is where we fell. We fell down that part. Nobody really understands. Well, not nobody, but the majority of people, even people who made a lot of money through earning or businesses, when it comes to growing that money, some of them are growing it, but they're also losing in the process, right? So, very, very important. Thank you guys so much for being on tonight. You will get the recording. Look out for it in the next hour or so. Be blessed. And for those of you who are in the business, we'll see you on Power Monday tomorrow, right? And make it a great week, y'all. And we'll see you back here on Faith and Finance on Sunday. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye, everyone.
Everyone, thank you.
You're the best. Thank you. Great.